Hi there everyone, my name is Paul Mensink. I'm from Western University in Ontario, Canada, and I'm an assistant professor in the Centre for Environment and Sustainability. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about a research project I've been working on regarding virtual tours, and specifically looking at using 360-degree headsets or not using 360-degree headsets in the classroom to see if that has any effect on student interest or engagement with virtual tours. Now, I teach mostly environmental sciences, and this is the classic figure you see when teaching environmental science in first year. It stresses how environmental science is a really interdisciplinary subject, but one of the problems that I face is that in the courses that I teach, I have students from a really diverse range of disciplines. And it's really difficult for some students coming from, let's say, the history and sociology side to be engaged with the more STEM side of environmental science, like biology and chemistry. I find one of the most effective ways to engage non-STEM students in STEM subjects is by taking them out into the field. I get to run a lot of marine biology field trips on the east coast of Canada, and that's where you really see students come to life when they're talking about STEM subject matter. Unfortunately, there's a lot of logistical challenges with getting students out to the coast, and also our class sizes have to be quite small. So the whole idea behind this project was to try and bring in some of the benefits of field trips into the classroom through virtual tours. But we know that one of the most important things about field trips is that it gives students the ability to explore their environment. So it was really important, if we were going to try and bring field trips into a classroom, that we were going to have to try and make sure that they felt that they were present at the locations. Of course, as we probably all know, immersive technologies are one way to instill a sense of presence in a particular scene or environment. And so we purchased 250 of these 360-degree video headsets. Students can insert their phones into the front of these headsets. They strap them on over the back of their heads, and then using the accelerometers in their phone, they're able to explore 360-degree photos as if they were in the location. So the key thing I wanted to know in this research study was, do we need to have these 360-degree headsets? Do they add to the experience, or do they maybe take away from it? The course that I teach is in a fall and winter semester, and here you can see the layout for the experiment. So in the fall semester, in the first two lessons, the students were given a control. That means they were allowed to view the virtual tours without a 360-degree headset. Then we gave them a survey, and then in lessons 3 and 4, we gave them a 360-degree headset to view virtual tours for those lessons. We flipped it in the winter semester. The students in the winter semester had the headsets for lessons 1 and 2, and they were without the headsets for lessons 3 and 4. One of the key things about this design is it allows us to repeat exposure to the intervention, so we can see how student attitudes and behaviors change having repetitively used the headsets, and we can also see and account for any differences between the virtual tours to make sure that we're really testing for just the effect of the headsets. So to facilitate this comparison, I created 4 virtual tours that matched up with what we were learning in the curriculum for those different lessons. We went to fisheries and aquaculture sites, a material recovery facility, the landfill, and then Western University's own power plant to see how the university generates its heating. So again, just to be clear, in the fall semester, students had fisheries and aquaculture and the landfill without headsets, but then had headsets for the materials recovery facility and power plant. And this was flipped for the winter semester of that same class. Again, there are 250 students in each section of this class for the fall and the winter semesters. Here, of course, are some obligatory photos of students using the headsets. So their smartphones are tucked into the compartment in the front of the headset, and you can see the straps going over their head, and they've turned their heads to the left as they're exploring the environment. During this process, for both the headsets and without the headsets, I'm leading them through the virtual tour at the front of the classroom. Well, on the first survey that students completed, after the first 2 lessons, whether they had headsets or no headsets, we asked them how concentrated they were on the virtual tours, whether or not they felt present on the field trips, whether or not the field trips increased their understanding of the material, whether or not they thought that the field trips were relevant to the course, and whether or not they thought they were interesting and engaging. So here you have the proportion of responses on a Likert scale on the left, and you can see that really there was no major differences between having the headset and not having the headset. We certainly predicted that presence, interest, and engagement would increase. What we didn't expect to see was that there was a significant decrease in understanding of the course material. So if you had a headset on, you were less likely to agree or strongly agree that the field courses helped with your understanding of the material. So that's really interesting. That's saying when we're using hardware that's meant to make these experiences more immersive and allow you to explore them, it's coming potentially at a cost. And that cost is reducing students' ability to understand the material that you're trying to convey through those immersive experiences. So if you remember, in the design of the study, we tested headsets multiple times. Now, we didn't force students to use the headsets, but we handed them out and allowed them to use them if they wanted to. This figure here is representing a multi-state model, and we had 2 states. You either were wearing the headset or you were using some other form of technology, whether that was the projector at the front of the class, your laptop, or the phone in your hand. What this multi-state model looks at is the probability that if you start in one state, so let's say you start with a headset on in lesson 1, the probability that you will move to either a phone, laptop, or projector, or if you will use the headset again in lesson 2. So here's the really interesting thing. All of these numbers are probabilities with confidence intervals around them. And what you can see here is that after the first lesson, there was a 44% probability that you would be moving away from the headset and into a more traditional form of technology. So these were students that used the headset in lesson 1, and then we're going to move on in lesson 2. When they had the option to use the headset again, they went towards a phone, laptop, or projector. So they were making a decision to move away from using the headsets. So when we look under the hood at some of the student comments, we see that some students were saying that they conceptualize and articulate these ideas better with the virtual tours, and then others said it's more convenient than going on a field trip, so it takes less time. So that was really interesting. That was one of the things that I was really trying to get at with this, so it was interesting to see that was pulled out. Now, what about on the other side? Well, some students said that they found it difficult to pay attention throughout the whole tour. They found there was too much space for exploration, which decreased their focus and understanding. So they were spending too much time inside the headsets looking around as opposed to trying to understand what the tour was going to show them. And other students were more explicit in this, saying it makes learning more focused on the technology's ability rather than critical thinking on the particular issue. So where do we go from here? What do these results tell us about the use of virtual tours and headsets to view them? I think one thing is that the use of immersive hardware shouldn't be the default when trying to view immersive technology experiences. And this is something I'm looking forward to a really good discussion with everybody on Saturday, and I hope to see you there. Thank you.